First off, let me take this time to thank each and every person who has taken time from their day to hear what my mother went through, her story, and how you might can offer any type of assistance. For that, I'm truly grateful, and I just wanted you all to know that. These are names that you will hear in the video. I'll try to explain them the best I can. It's a lot of information. Stephen met my mom when she was the manager at the Wingate Hotel in Cool Springs in April of 2007. At first, he told her his name was Rick Jones and that he owned a pawn shop and was law enforcement. What he did not tell her was that just weeks before, he had a baby girl that had died. He had 2 children with him the night he met my mom, and he told him that the lady named Victoria was the nanny to these 2 girls. And I never believed that. I told my mom that. And Victoria will come into play just a little bit later. My mom had gotten discharged from the hospital a couple of days before her death, and my daughter came home with her. They were going to the store, and my mother essentially found a doctor's note from an abortion clinic in her car. Well, when she called the number on the paper for the patient number, no one would answer. A few minutes later, Stephen called my mom and told her to quit calling that number. The day before her death, her sister came to her house, and my mom was absolutely distraught, just crying her eyes out. She told her that Stephen had said he hated her and he wished that she would die, that her heart would just stop beating. He couldn't stand being with her anymore. This is the official incident report from the morning that my mom died. I know it's kind of small and I can't enlarge it on the screen if you need to see it bigger. It reads as follows. On 2/6/2022, Officer Stange was dispatched to 109 Riverside Drive for an unresponsive female. On my arrival, I made contact with the reporting person, Stephen Kilpatrick. Reporting person Stephen Kilpatrick advised he got home last night around 10:30 p.m. and spoke with his longtime girlfriend, Teresa Melendez. He stated they spoke for a few minutes before Teresa went to bed around 10:45-ish. He stated he went to bed around 11 p.m. and Teresa was already snoring when he got to bed. He stated around 5 a.m. this morning he woke up to the chiming of the clock from downtown. Shortly after, he went into the bedroom to check on Teresa and noticed she was not breathing. He stated he called or texted Teresa's family member, who advised him to call 911. At that point, he called dispatch and spoke with them until officers arrived on scene. Stephen advised Teresa was recently discharged from Vandy on Friday, 2/4/2022, with CHF, which is congestive heart failure. Teresa was transported to the Murray Regional Center by EMS. This is from Google Maps, and it shows that my mother lived 0.4 miles from the courthouse, which the bell was located in the top of. Now, granted, let's say if it was at 5 o'clock in the morning, as he said, there's a few things that's wrong with this. Here's the reason. You can typically hear a 70 decibel sound from around 500 meters to 1 kilometer, and that puts off roughly about the same decibels as the bell does on the square. 500 meters equals 1,600 feet. Well, my mother lived 0.4 miles, which equals 2,112 feet from the courthouse. So, the likelihood of him hearing it was virtually impossible. And you also had to consider in the fact that that morning the weather was so cold, they would have been running the central unit for the heater. And my mom slept with the fan on. So that was the first red flag right there. Next, according to the City of Columbia's own code, from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m., to disturb or anyone in their comfort of any hotel dwelling or any type of residence is strictly prohibited and is illegal. So we know the bell is not too loud. That's a given. And here's the weather report from that morning that shows the temperature. Next, this is the text messages. It starts at 5:50 a.m. where Stephen had texted my daughter, who was 19 years old at the time. She responds by saying, "Is everything okay? I'm at something right now." So apparently he had called her before that. Now this is 50 minutes from the time he said he woke up. And this is where I'm going to say he had said the night before. He come in at 10:30, she went to bed at 10:45. 11 o'clock, she was snoring when he went to bed. He says nothing about getting up in the middle of the night. So, if he got up at 5 a.m. to, let's just say, use the bathroom or make coffee, which he didn't work because he had worked the night before. She didn't work at all. When he come back to the bedroom, why would he go in the bedroom and on purposely turn the light on and wake her up? That made absolutely no sense. So that leaves me another question. If the light was off, how did he know she wasn't breathing? Either one makes no sense. You would not wake a person up at 5 o'clock in the morning. And my guess, they had been arguing the night before. So you wouldn't wake them up at risk of being arguing again or anything like that. That just made no sense. When my mother was found, she had vomit on her clothes. I know, I seen it with my own eyes. Stephen had no vomit on him, which again, you would notice that if someone was in the bed with you, if they were vomiting or not. And then you move along to, now it's 5:50, 50 minutes after he said he woke up and he found my mother unresponsive. He calls and messages my daughter, everybody except 911. Why is that? I know why, and that's going to